Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Not sure where you're joining us from. Welcome to this Diploma informational webinar. We're really excited to have you all here. If you can, and if you're willing to turn on your camera, yes, Rebecca, that would be great. Hi, we would love to see you all engage face to face as much as we can. We expect this to be just kind of an informal informational webinar where we can see your face and give you some information, and you can ask some questions of us as well. So if you are in the position to turn on your camera, please do so. We're going to wait a minute or so before we actually kick off, and we want to do some basically a round robin to get to know who you are, your name, where you're from, and what are you doing professionally right now. So maybe I'll start with just my introduction first, and then we can move on, but I'll mimic what we'll do for the round robin. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hannah Benson. I'm a program manager at the UP Center for Executive Education. I've been with the center for 7 years now, which is crazy. It's flown for sure. And I manage a lot of our programs, including a lot of support with our diploma programs that we're going to be talking a lot about today. And I'm co-hosting this webinar with Julia Delafield. Go ahead, take it away.
Hi, I'm Julia Delafield. I'm the director of the Center for Executive Education, co-director with the founding director. And I'm originally from the United States, but on the East Coast, but I've been living here in Costa Rica since 2009, so quite a while now, and working with UP since 2013. And I love helping to host these sort of get-togethers because it's a great way for us to know who's out there and interested in what we're doing, and so that we can keep getting better and doing more of it.
Awesome. All right, great. So why don't we then turn it over to you all, and I'm just going to kind of call the names on my screen as I see them. Very quick, kind of in 30 seconds, what your name is, where you're joining us from, and what you do professionally would be great. Rebecca, you come up first for me, so why don't you go ahead?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hoskin, and I live in Seattle, Washington, and I am a professional home care nurse for non-medical needs. I love to travel, and I'm very devoted to volunteering for peace building. So thank you.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Rebecca. Great to have you here. Mohammed, you come up next on my screen. If you can hear me, you can take yourself off mute, or the other alternative here is if you want to write in the chat box as well.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mohammed. I am the coordinator of the Pan-African Organization for Peace and Conflict Resolution. And I'm from United Kingdom. And I will be graduated my degree next Tuesday, 19th of July, 2022.
Oh, great. Congratulations. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Joseph, you're coming up next for me. Joseph, can you hear us? All right, I'm going to move on to the next person on my screen. Gigi, are you there? You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, Hannah. How are you?
Doing well.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yep.
Yes. Okay, quickly introducing myself. My name is Gigi. I work with the United Nations.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Okay. My name is Gigi. I work with the United Nations. I'm a business instructor. I finished a master's degree in managerial science. I speak 5 languages. I'm a volunteer actively with more than 11 organizations worldwide, and I would be honored to add you on my LinkedIn if it's possible.
Absolutely. Yes.
And where are you joining us from?
I am in MENA region right now. I'm in Syria, but I travel a lot. I was born in Africa, but I travel a lot.
Excellent.
Nice to meet you, and thank you. I'm highly interested in University of Peace programs.
Well, you are at the right webinar. Great to have you here. Carrie, you're next.
Hello. Am I on? No, yep. I'm not on mute, which is good. Hello, Hannah. Hello to the rest of the team that have joined. I'm Kerry Taylor. I'm a program manager I'm sitting in the UK, but I'm working for a South African organization. and currently involved in driving financial literacy through different school curricula across Africa. So yes, that's who I am. As I say, lived in South Africa and the UK, but very, very, very passionate about Africa.
Amazing.
Carrie's actually enrolled in the diploma program already.
I have.
Going to start in
And I
August.
probably have a lot of the information I need, but I thought I'd just log in anyway to see if I learn anything new.
There you go. It's a good way to do it. Glad to have you here, Carrie. I'm going to, Emmanuel, in the chat box. Hi, everyone. I'm Emmanuel, social worker with Ghana. Glad to be here. Glad to have you here. Next on my screen, Nicholas Feda. If you could unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, I'm in my car. I'm in Chicago, Illinois, United States. I'm an attorney.
Okay, excellent. Glad to have you here, Nicholas. Marilyn, I think you're the last one.
Oh, let me see.
There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Marilyn Wout. I'm from Aruba. My organization is in charge of handling applications for work permits and residence permits.
Okay, excellent. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Mohammed, if at any point you're able to go ahead and write your introduction in the chat box, we'd love to hear from you as well. Welcome, everybody. Warm welcome from wherever you're coming from. I think this is really indicative of the UP Center programs. They're extremely diverse in terms of professional background and where you're coming from. So you are surrounded in fantastic company, in fantastic community of people doing really amazing things. So I hope you see this session as not only information on our diploma programs, but a way to meet really cool people from around the world as well. Julia, why don't we kick off with the PowerPoint and get started?
Definitely. I'm going to share screen with you guys and just put up a quick presentation that helps Hannah and I go through what we're doing. But so you are joining us with the University for Peace Center for Executive Education today. If you don't know about the University for Peace itself, we're a pretty unique place in the world, I would say. We were started by the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1980, which means that there was actually an agreement between the Costa Rican government and the United Nations to start an organization whose sole mission was to create a more peaceful future and to help build up the future generations of peace builders. We're located here in Costa Rica, although there are affiliate campuses around the world, but really this is the main one, giving master's and doctoral level degrees that look at peace and conflict studies, but through the lens of understanding what causes conflict in the world and looking at those injustices in order to be able to help out. So there are programs that are related to environment and international development, related to international law, and then looking at peace and conflict studies also with a lens towards gender, towards education, media, lots of options. And one of the defining characteristics of the university is that it's a highly international place. You'll see this replicated in the Center for Exec Ed courses as well, as Hannah mentioned at the beginning. But we're a small university with maybe just, some sound, with about 150 students, but from 50 plus countries. And basically, we see ourselves as being embedded in this wider vision of the United Nations to create a better world. And the sort of defining thread of everyone who comes through our programs is that they're looking to contribute towards positive impact going forward.
Exactly. So within the University for Peace, we are the UP Center for Executive Education, a small but very mighty organization doing fantastic things. And our belief is that everybody has the potential to make a difference. So we take the United Nations mission, we are working towards it, but we localize it a bit. What does it mean in your context, with your team, with your family circle, with your community to have positive impact? And how can we each kind of do our part to create a more peaceful and tolerant world? And we do this through these transformative educational programs, professional development courses that we offer, like the Diploma. And it's really about giving you the skills, tools, and networks necessary to be able to act and empower you to act, to have positive impact and positive influence on the lives of others.
So really quickly in the chat box, type in, how familiar are you with UP's programs? With one being, I know absolutely nothing at all, and I'm just joining today to try to get a clue. To 3 being, I'm really familiar and understand them well. This just helps us understand what we got. So we've got a couple very familiars. That's cool. 1s, 2s,
All right.
2s. All right. We only have one in there so far. So it seems like most people have some exposure to the programs. That's great. We're going to talk about things, Hannah and I, but please feel free at any point, if you want to ask a question, you can stick things in the chat box and we'll stop and address it. If you have a comment, you can always unmute, you can always butt in, we don't mind at all. And at the end, we'll also create some space for Q&A as well, if you have things that are on your mind.
Sorry, can I ask a question, please?
Please.
Sure. You know, my organization is based in Africa and United Kingdom. And for last year, 2021 to 2022, we held almost 11 conferences about peace and conflict of resolution in Mali, Chad, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Sudan. And I have my team over 40 people in Africa, and how that your program can benefit us, for example, in terms of training or in terms of learning them some important keys about the peace or about the conflict, and how we're going to participate. That's our caution, because after the end of the meeting, I have to give a report to my team in Africa and in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, Mohammed. So what we'll do today is we can go over what's included in the program, which can help you give a good idea of the content. And you bring up an important point for us to mention, which is all that we're talking about today is available open enrollment, which means that anybody can join it. But we also do set up customized programs for organizations that are looking for training. So if, for instance, you see a piece of what you see today and you say, wow, I'd like to bring that back to the 40 people on my team, we can definitely have a conversation offline as a follow-up to this about what that might look like and how we might do that. We do a lot of that sort of thing, and it's great because we can, of course, tailor it to your needs and what you're looking at as an organization.
Really. So maybe to kick off with the diplomas, we do have a cohort that's actually beginning 15th of August, which is in literally a month from today. So that means that there's still time to get involved with the next cohort. There were still a month out, like I said, but it is coming up quickly and the spots are filling soon. So again, just to give you an overview of what the diplomas are, it basically consists of 5 courses during the period of 18 months. Many people complete a diploma program much sooner than this. However, we give you 18 months because we know that life and work happens, right? There are things that happen that you can't control, and we want to make sure that it is flexible enough so you can still complete it if you need to take some sort of hiatus for any reason. There is 1 requisite course for all the diplomas, and then you can take 4 electives of your choice from a course menu of about 15 different courses. So we do this on purpose. We don't want to say, okay, you're doing the diploma in social innovation, so you need to take these 5 courses. Because for a lot of people, of the courses that we offer, the 5 that work for me might work very differently for Julia, and they actually might not fit with her own career interests and her goals. So we want to make sure that you have access to our entire course menu so you can really put together the learning journey that's right for you. We have 2 diploma tracks. One is a diploma in social innovation and one is a global leadership diploma. So you can do either one. And because you can complete 4 electives of your choice, you can essentially complete both of these diploma programs in a very similar way. The requisite course is the main difference here. And we'll go into these in just a second. And then this is actually new for January this year. We've integrated coaching sessions into the diploma program. And this is something that we found was a really just a need for the diploma program participants to really leverage their program and ensure that their experience was the best that it could be. So we've put in 3 different kind of coaching sessions where throughout your program, you'll be meeting with someone one-on-one, and they'll really help you translate what you learn in the classroom to your work context. I think for a lot of people, you do online learning, you do on-site learning, and then it kind of, the course is over and then you forget after a week what you even learned about and forget how to apply it. So this coaching and mentorship sessions, they're really meant to keep you on track in that way as well.
So as Hannah mentioned, there are 2 different diplomas. The diploma in social innovation is really for people who are excited about the idea of starting something, whether it's a social business, an organization, or even just a project within an existing organization, but something that's really focused on impact. Don't want to say social impact because sometimes it's environmental. Everybody brings their own passions to the table. But the foundational course for this program, that's the required course, is called Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Social Change. And in it, you actually write a business plan for a project organization that you'd like to start at some point in the future. Or if you're just sort of exploring the ideas and want to know about it, you can also use a sample organization that you're familiar with and write up a business plan for them. And you still get that experience. And then in the future, if you're ready to do something on your own, you're ready to.
And then we have the Global Leadership Diploma, which this is the newer of the 2 diplomas. And I think that when we say leadership, many of us think immediately, you know, manager of a team, leader of an organization. And in our minds, this is really for anyone who wants to have a positive impact and influence on those around them. So I think it applies to most everyone in the room and anybody who's going to watch this recording. But it really is about leveraging your leadership capacity for the 21st century. We know that the leaders of 10 years ago and even 5 years ago are so different and need to be different than the leaders of today. And it's really about, how do I create a culture of collaboration, creativity? How do I motivate the people who I work with to make sure that they're being the best they can be, that they're appealing to their strengths and really feel engaged in the work that they're doing? And also, how do I ultimately show up for the people who I go to work with? How do I acknowledge the fact that there's a human behind the employee, and acknowledge the fact that they might have had a lot going on at home and they're bringing it to work with them? And how do I still keep them engaged despite that? How do I keep them connected with purpose? So a lot of different things are covered, and a lot of different topics are covered in this diploma, depending on what you take. But the requisite course is either positive leadership or regenerative leadership. So there are 2 different leadership options that you can choose from. Positive leadership is really focused on strengths-based leadership and pulling the strengths for the people on your team and making sure they're being their best and feeling their best at work. And then regenerative leadership takes a sustainability angle. How do I ensure that within the day-to-day workings of my organization, sustainability is front and center, and I'm taking that into account as I run my organization? And at the end of this diploma track, you come up with your own personal or organizational leadership strategy that you can put into practice.
Can I raise a question?
Please.
Just on that regenerative leadership piece, would you think that's applicable for perhaps business executives that are leading in the space of CSI, but don't necessarily have that as a background? Do you think that's a good place to start? Because one of my problems running an initiative within a kind of for-profit organization is that the leadership, whilst aligned to I guess the broad goals, don't actually have the depth of understanding in this space. So I think linked a little bit to what Mohammed was saying is maybe there's an opportunity for a very specific area of training with an executive team to get them a little bit more depth and robustness in the space of sustainability.
Definitely, if I can jump in. So that course in particular looks at sustainability, not only in terms of environmental sustainability, but more the idea of thinking about future generations and what your organization or project is doing to not just sustain, but actually rebuild. That's the idea of regenerative, right? What's giving back and making it even better. So it links specifically to the SDGs, to the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, and how to tie those into projects. it's very relevant for for-profit companies. And we've definitely had, I know we were working with a bank, I can't even remember where, in the Caribbean, I believe, to do some trainings with them around this. In this course, in the sort of open enrollment course, one of the great things about it, and we'll get to who our professors are in a little bit because they're amazing, but the professor is extremely engaged, and the final plan, the final presentation you do is writing a plan for your organization and getting really detailed feedback from the professor on it. So it is a space to dig into what that means in your organization and how to apply it.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. And Julia, I think you make a good point. That goes for almost all of our courses. They all have a final deliverable, and maybe I'm moving ahead, that is specifically related to your context. And so you won't be working with something that you can't relate to. And the idea is at the end of the course that you'll be taking, you can easily implement whatever your final project is because it's specifically related to you and the work that you do.
So to move on to the coaching sessions, the coaching sessions are a blend of coaching and mentorship. People who have coaching experience say that coaches are a bit like therapists, and they're not supposed to ever actually give you direct feedback. They're just supposed to be there to listen to you and draw it out of you. We take a little bit of a more mentorship approach to coaching in terms of the fact that they're there to help you really think about, why am I doing this program? What do I want to get out of it? What am I trying to do with my personal life or my career? And what are the barriers that I might be facing within that? And how might I work to overcome those? So it's only 3. You can add on more coaching sessions if you want to, but the idea is to give shape to the program and make sure that you bring it home to your life and really take out of it what you want to get out of it. And they're, of course, completely confidential sessions that you do. And we hand match you with a coach based on learning a little bit about your profile and then knowing our coaches. It's actually a very intuitive process where we sort of say, we think these two would match, and we know why. So it's adding a lot. We've been getting great feedback on how this complements the learning that's happening.
And then we often get this question, why do people take the diploma and who's in the program, right? Who am I going to be rubbing shoulders with? And there are many different reasons, of course, but the 3 main ones that people come to us and do the diploma program for. The first one is a professional development opportunity. If you want that promotion and being able to skill up and get a diploma in global leadership from a United Nations established university, that looks really good. And that could set you apart. A lot of people are investing in themselves these days and trying to set themselves apart from their colleagues for the promotion, or in general, they're trying to get another job. And this is definitely helpful in that area. Experiencing a career change. We have a lot of people also going from business to more purpose related, more impact related work. And they kind of see us as a nice next step. And if it's not that change, if you're just kind of exploring and maybe you want to do something different, I think what our program also does is give you some clarity about how you want to move forward. So maybe there's like a little seed in your head that says, I like what I'm doing every day, but I want to be doing something more. This is also the way to kind of give you that path forward and just give you some tips as to how you might actually pave that journey yourself and what that roadmap might look like. And then finally, a desire for new skills. If your boss comes and says to you, you need to make a fundraising plan, we've got a course for that. If you need to do a measuring outcomes and impact plan, we've got a course for that. If you need to put a team together from scratch, all of these things are really relevant to today's society, to a wide variety of professional sectors. And I think they are hugely relevant to helping people leverage their leadership capacity, leverage their entrepreneurial drive in a way that gives them the skills that are needed for today. And then who's in the program? We've got people from all kinds of professional backgrounds. And of course, you just noticed in this kind of 11-person group that we have today, we also have people from all over. We've got lots of people from the corporate sector, people who work for large global multinational corporations, HR managers, business leaders. We also have people in the NGO, nonprofit sector, managers, leaders who join us. And of course, that makes sense with the Diploma in Social Innovation and the social entrepreneurs that also join us. They've either started their own social business, or they're thinking about the fact that they want to scale up, or they want to improve the one that they currently have. And then we also have people from the education sector, primary, secondary, even university level as well, and government. DG, like you, we have a lot of people from the United Nations system as well who join our programs. And I think what this says ultimately is that you learn so much from your facilitators, and we'll talk about them in just a second, but you learn just as much from all of the different perspectives that are coming into a room like this, people from different backgrounds, and bringing different levels of expertise and perspectives to the table around one subject that you're all kind of focused on together, which I think adds a really cool, rich element to the entire experience as well.
So who's in the diploma? Also extremely diverse. We've had, this actually says 20 years old. I believe now we've had people as low as 18 in the program, and actually a few years older than this as well, because I'm aware of somebody who was in their mid-60s who was in the program as well. Because, as Hannah said, people are coming for different reasons. It can be a purely academic, I want to learn about this, I'm young, I'm starting out, or it can be, I've got 30 years of experience in my career and I want to figure out how to have more purpose. We also have had participants from more than 60 countries. This, again, we probably need to update. My guess is that it's more than that now. This graphic is from about 6 months ago. And interestingly enough, yeah, so anyone want to unmute and guess what some of the top countries are if you had to pick the top countries who are in the program? Or you can type it in the chat box. And of course, I'll give it away. But if you want to play the guessing game, it's kind of fun. I don't think anyone in here has actually taken a course with us yet. Let's see, in the chat, we've got USA. Yes, USA is definitely one of the top 4. India, good guess. Yes, that's the number 4 one. Very nice. Any other guesses? It's the number 1 one that's hard to get. So number 2 is Costa Rica, which we're based in Costa Rica. So that makes a fair amount of sense. And the UK, no, surprisingly, no. Our number 1 source of diploma participants is Trinidad and Tobago. So I know we have somebody in here from Aruba, but we've worked a lot in the Caribbean because of some different programs we've been able to run there. And interestingly enough, that's meant that our classes have a lot of people from the Caribbean region, which is really fun. But in any given class, the classes are fairly small. Say there are 18 people in your class, you're very likely to have, say, 15 different nationalities represented. Accreditation. We will get there, Nicholas, in 1 second. Or I guess I could just address that now and we could do it. So accreditation, these are professional development programs. The University for Peace is accredited in Costa Rica. The way Costa Rica works with higher education accreditation is that they accredit programs, not institutions. So we have as much accreditation as we possibly can, but it doesn't cover the professional development programs. But that's kind of normal because they're really about skill building and they aren't degree based, if that makes sense. So the University for Peace is backed by the UN, that's something important, and then has the accreditations it can within the country. And there we go.
Nice segue to what you just said, your comment there. We're not, this is not an academic program. You don't receive a transcript at the end or a grade. You receive this really cool credential that you can put on your LinkedIn profile. You can put it on your social media. Obviously, like I said, sets you apart in the professional sector that you're within. But more than that, I mean, you'll see the UP Center for Executive Education logo on there. You'll see the University for Peace logo on there that has embedded within it the United Nations logo, which is incredibly easily recognizable. But I think also it says a lot about who you are, your character, the fact that you are someone who invests in your own professional development. And it's professional development with a mind towards influencing others for the better and kind of contributing to the overall United Nations mission. So I think this is also a testament to the learning journey that the time and effort and dedication that you put into a program like this one, the type of person that you are, and also the type of community that you are now a part of after completing a diploma program like one of these.
So there are a lot of options out there. What sort of sets our our courses important to understand. The courses are really, really engaging. As I mentioned, they're small classes. And the idea is that there's a lot of space to have conversations with the other people in the class and have conversations with facilitators. We believe that the people who are in the classroom have a lot to give and need a space to think deeply about things and need some frameworks to orient around, but really have a lot of the answers inside. So we have set up spaces with a lot of breakout rooms, a lot of conversations, chats, polls. It's more of a learn by doing approach than lecture. That's not what we're into at all. And in that way, it's very learner centered. As Hannah mentioned, with the final projects in almost every class, there's some sort of final outcome that is specifically how you're going to apply what you learned to your context. And again, if you don't have a context, like if you're in between and you're thinking about things, you use an organization that you're really familiar with as an example, and that allows you to explore the things more deeply. But it means that if you are working within an organization or a company, then you're actually creating materials that you can use and getting feedback on them during the courses. So if you take a course on social media for social innovation, how to do social media marketing that's purpose-driven, you write a social media marketing plan at the end and get feedback from the professor on that. So you walk away with a game plan in your hand of how you want to move forward. We've talked about the global classroom, but really the fact that there are people from all around the world is a huge part of the learning experience. And in fact, the multi-generational aspect of it, we also find it enriches the courses a lot. There's the new ideas that you can cultivate by having a conversation with somebody who's maybe passionate about a subject similar to what you're passionate about, but in a completely different context. It just gets you thinking about things in a way that you're not naturally spurred to do in your day-to-day context. And our participants routinely tell us that that's one of the biggest takeaways from the program, is this amazing network that they're able to generate. And in fact, we've had people go forward and launch organizations together, write books together, and very routinely they'll tell us things like, oh, I developed a new website and I sent it around to 4 other people I knew from the diploma program to get feedback. So it creates a nice community. And then finally, the facilitators, because we're a very practical program, the idea is to walk away with, how am I going to do this? Our facilitators are top people from all around the world. Some of them are academics, but many are not. Many are practitioners in the field. So for instance, who better to teach a class on writing a monitoring and evaluation plan than somebody, the director of a small grants foundation, who's consistently evaluating those monitoring and evaluation plans with his small grantees around the world. One of the sort of what ties together the facilitators is that we look for people who are excited to be a part of the program, excited to engage with the participants. And so they make themselves available to really work with everybody. And I think that's what makes a difference. This is the opposite of a large online course where you're going through the materials on your own, have no support, and the professor is a video that you click on. This is somebody where you're going to be able to meet with them one-on-one if you want to. You're going to share with them. You're going to be exchanging forum comments and things like that. You're going to have live sessions with them.
And then we also know that people learn differently, and the things that appeal to one person might not appeal to the other. So we have 2 different types of online learning. And of course, we have on-site learning as well at the University for Peace campus in Costa Rica. So if that's ever something that is up your alley and you want to come join us at the beautiful UPeace campus, you are more than welcome to do so. And I'll talk a bit about an on-site course we have coming up in the next slide. But for the online learning, we've got live virtual workshops and online courses. Live virtual workshops were actually born out of COVID, where we had to translate all of our on-site learning to an online format. But we wanted to make sure that it was as engaging as possible, and it was the closest thing to face-to-face learning. So what these consist of are weekly live sessions of about 1.5 to 2 hours, where your entire class has to be there. It's mandatory for everyone to be together. And you go through the content in a really, like Julia said, very engaging way. It's a learn by doing format. So something will be presented, You'll go into breakout rooms and you'll do it. Something will be presented, you'll all debrief as a group, or you'll actually get to practice it. Lots of the content is done during that 1.5 to 2 hour session where the entire group is together and engaging with one another. And then there are some assignments between the sessions. These sessions are once a week, and between the sessions, there's some kind of homework. So there might be like a video you have to take a look at, maybe a reading you have to take a look at, but it's definitely not a lot. And we refer to these are kind of, again, more like face-to-face, less time in terms of the time that you're gonna have to put into the course, because of the major piece in order to pass and successfully complete are taking part in these mandatory weekly 1.5 to 2 hour sessions. And then these assignments between sessions are minimal and they don't take tons of your time. For the online classes, it's a bit of a different story. Maybe these are, perhaps when you think of an online class, this might fit into what you think of, but we have a course platform called Moodle where we run all of our online classes. And basically what this means is that every week, a new module or the week is opened, and there are specific steps that you need to complete each week. Maybe there's 10 different steps. Maybe there's websites, maybe there's an assignment, maybe there's a forum discussion where you can interact with your peers online. And then there's also a 1 hour weekly live webinar. That webinar session is not necessarily meant to go through the content for the week. Most of the content that you go through and the learning that you go through is actually done on your own throughout the week. And then these weekly live webinars are really meant just to add a space where you can interact with your professor and your peers. They are not mandatory. We have people from all over the world joining our online courses. And for a lot of people, the time zones just don't work out. So in this case, you'll probably be meeting with a smaller cohort of the entire class, but you still have that space to be able to ask questions in real time, engage with the other peers in your class in real time as well. So very different learning environments. For the online courses as well, it's worth mentioning that the time commitment in order to go through the materials is higher than it is for the live virtual workshops. We have people say that per week, you can expect about 6 to 9 hours of coursework per course. So those are the two different kind of online formats. And then we do have, like I said, on-site courses as well. We have 1 or 2 day on-site workshops as well in Costa Rica. If that is something that you're in for, we can definitely give you more information on those as well.
So what's coming up soon? Things that you could get started with if you wanted to. And it's worth mentioning that all of our courses are available as single standalone courses. And then we sometimes have people want to just try one out and then come onto the diploma later. That's a possibility. Whereas other people sign up for the diploma right from the start. Our next class that's going to begin is called Tackling Finance in the Social Sector. So how do you either learn about fundraising or impact investing and come up with materials that you can present before possible funders, understand the network of who's out there, think through about what your ask is, and create a budget so that you know sort of what you're asking for. It's a fantastic course for anybody who runs an organization or works in an organization that needs funding, which really we all know that most organizations do in one way or another. So that's the first one. The next one after that is going to be measuring outcomes and impact, which is the one that we mentioned about how to write a monitoring and evaluation plan. If you can't report on what you are accomplishing as an organization that has an impact at the heart of what it's doing, then it's hard to maintain funding, right? So this course actually allows you to go through that process and detail out exactly what it is you're trying to do, which helps you really define your organization and your goals as well. And then think about how you're going to capture that information and report back. And Hannah, I'll let you do the last two.
Then we've got Building Effective Teams. It's an online course that starts on August 30th. And as we know, many teams are kind of put together very unintentionally. They are not put together on purpose and they kind of form themselves. And we don't necessarily take into account what the end goals are of that team. What are the areas for collaboration? And how do we create a team based on these areas of collaboration so that they are as effective as they can be? So that's a 4-week course starting on August 30th. And then we have Positive Leadership. We have 2 different formats for this course. This is one of the requisite courses for the Global Leadership Diploma. And you can do it either in a live virtual format where you meet once a week for 2 hours, online, or you can join us at the University for Peace campus on September 8th and 9th. We'll be doing a 2-day on-site workshop. And positive leadership, like I mentioned earlier, it's really about focusing on those, first of all, understanding yourself as a leader, self-leading, and how do I make sure that I know who I am, who am I leading, how do I manage conflict, how do I manage my own energy in these times of leadership, and then how do I translate this to my team members or to the people that I'm influencing, and how do I make sure that they feel engaged in their work and that they are fulfilling their goals, but also feeling really good and connected to the purpose of what they do every day. So that's coming up. Both of those are coming up in September. The on-site one is September 8th and 9th, and the live virtual workshop kicks off on September 21st.
And just to answer, Rebecca had a question about how long the positive leadership course is. The online version is a 5-week course. So you meet 2 hours a week for 5 weeks with a cohort of people online. And then the on-site one is a 2-day workshop. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. Payment plans. So we like to at least mention this up front, because if we've learned anything during the pandemic, it's that the best way for us to make our programs accessible is to try to meet people where they are and figure out plans that work for them as well. So it's very possible to the diploma, the full diploma in either social innovation or social leadership, if it's done 100% online, it costs $2,995. But we are very happy to break that down into much smaller payments that can be made throughout the course of the program to make it easier for you. We included a couple plans here just so that you understand how varied they can be. And in fact, the one we've been working with most recently, which isn't even up here, but it's possible to do a deposit at the beginning and then have 12 monthly installments over the course of the next year as well. So it's the real point of having this here is just for you all to understand that we would work with you to figure out what made the most sense for you and your budget to try to figure out how to make it work so that you could join the program.
And then in terms of next steps, like Julia said, the diploma itself does cost $2,995. For many of you, it might be a payment plan conversation with us. And for many of you, it might be a conversation just to understand and address any other questions that you have or understand what your journey is. We'd love to jump on the phone with you and have a conversation about what your goals are in this kind of program, what we think might be a good fit for you based on what we know about your profile. And then just kind of talking through options with you. That's how, for many people, that's how this diploma journey starts, is it's just a phone call with one of us. And I'll go ahead, or Julia, one of us will put in our Calendly link into the chat box. So you can feel free and just schedule a call with us immediately. You can do so right after this call if you'd like. And we're happy to explore options. Whether it's diploma or like someone mentioned earlier, if it's a customized job for your team or something like that, we're more than happy to help. We are an extremely flexible and responsive team. That's something that we pride ourselves on. And we love creating relationships and building them and kind of accompanying you on this journey with us. So we are more than happy to help in any way and support in any way that we can.
And we just got a question. I'm putting our Calendly link in here. I had a question. We got a question about scholarships. There are, once a year, we do a scholarship opportunity, which means that we take applications and we give out, this year we were able to give out 3 full scholarships and then a couple of 50% and then a number of smaller scholarships. We do that usually in March to April of each year. So that is one possibility, and you do have to write up an application of why you want to do it in your background and stuff like that. We also do have occasionally some partial scholarships, usually in the 10 to 20% range for the diplomas. If you want to learn about those, you can let me know. For the August 15th program, I'm not sure if we have any left. Those are fairly limited. And then for individual courses, we do as well sometimes have partial scholarships. So basically, if you want to talk about that, get in touch with us. We're very committed to trying to have the right people in the classroom. We want a diverse group, and we want people who are passionate, and we want people who are working on these issues. And we know that makes a better program for everybody. And we know that for different regions in the world, the price can have a very different meaning. So we're very open to having those conversations, especially for people from lower income countries or who might need a little extra help getting in.
And we will be following up with this recording and with these slides, so you can reference them and continue the conversation with us. But maybe it would be a good time to just kind of open the floor and see if anybody has any other questions. Feel free to write them in the chat, come off mute, and we can, if there's any lingering doubts or clarifications that we can help with.
Thank you very much for this presentation. It was really very helpful, and personally, I benefit from this presentation. Was really helping. And as you know, I told you about my organization, and we fighting for a peace in Africa, basically. And we had several peace competition for the youth, for the young generation, how to starting or how to fight for a peace. And we organize several activities of peace competition, and we give some, in French we call trophy. We give some medal, we give some check, some money, some gifts, everything, because we need to put all these people in one hand and to make Africa a better place. As you know, most of countries in Africa now going through the transition period, and they are going in deep inter-community conflict, and people lost their lives every single day. And we're trying to do our best to put all those people, for example, in about fighting about peace, about resolution of conflict. This is our program for 2021 to 2022. So as I told you before, we need new strategy, new skills from you for 2023. How we're going to start set up new skills to manage, or new skill to relate to peace and conflict resolution. And as I heard in the chat, your colleague saying about the scholarships, and this will be really helpful. And we have one more question, is about all these courses is in English, or are you doing with different languages?
Yeah, all of the courses that we offer are in English, Mohammed. And yeah, it sounds like you're doing just amazing work, amazing initiative, and you're definitely contributing to lasting peace in Africa. So kudos on that. And I think it might make more sense, Mohammed, for us to take this offline. And if you want to talk a little bit more about something special we can do specifically for your team, Julia threw the Calendly link in the chat box, and you can go ahead and schedule a time and we can connect and talk about what this collaboration might look like.
I agree. Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you guys. I'm sorry we didn't have more direct contact. If you do get to take a class with us, you'll see that they're far more interactive, but we do these mainly to get the information out there. So now you know who Hannah and I are. If you see our names on emails, if you want to reach out to us, I'm also going to pop in the chat box just our sort of general email that gets to both of us and actually our entire team. But if anything comes up, as Hannah says, we'll follow up on this. But that's the best way to get in touch with us. And it looks like there's a question in French. I don't speak French. We don't have any courses in French for Francophones available at this time, unless we were to set up something really customized. So maybe that's a good place to leave things, and we'll just say a wonderful rest of the day to everyone here.
And have a wonderful weekend. We'll be in touch with the follow-up on Monday.
Thank you. Same to you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining.